Excellent. Thank you very much, Mary, for the recording disclaimer. Hopefully you all have adjusted to a more comfortable setting. This is the description for tonight's Ujima Wednesday workshop. This session, Black Protest Strategy, takes us deeper into the practice of direct action by examining the four core frames that guide its design. Together, we will consider how Black organizers and communities can become more intentional in the choices we make, where we will intervene, how we escalate, and what stories our actions tell. The use of the term strategy here is not abstracted. It is grounded in the clarity of purpose and the discipline of planning. Ooh, I might stick around. All right. Our facilitator, Epiphany Summers, using the she, her pronouns, is a Philly native and currently lives in Atlanta. She is a scholar, a Black queer feminist, an organizer, and a music enthusiast. While in graduate school at George Washington University, she focused her research on hip hop music and the interpretations of Black woman listeners. Following that, she started her career in community organizing with faith-based organizing in Florida, which eventually led her to the Dream Defenders. At Dream Defenders, Epiphany held the role of organizing director, where she developed young people of color nationally as leaders and agents of social change for 5 years. Currently, they work with the Center for Third World Organizing at BlackOUT Collective as program coordinator. There, Epiphany develops Black direct action practitioners nationally to execute powerful and creative actions. Epiphany, pass it to you. Everybody, please throw some emojis up. Let's celebrate this knowledge and co-creation we're about to get into. Thank you.
All right, cool. Thanks so much. Hey everybody, I'm Epiphany. I would introduce myself, but that was done. So yay, whoop-de-doo. So yeah, so excited that folks are here today. Is there anyone that's here today that was here last week? If so, can you like raise your hand in the chat or little emoji or in real life? Do we mostly have new folks? Okay, cool. That's cool. Oh, let me look at the chat. Okay, okay. All right, just a few. All right, cool. All right, so today I wanted to give y'all a bit of an intro to direct action. Again, I work with BlackOUT Collective, which is a national Black direct action hub. We were founded in 2014. Um, And yeah, and since then, after the murder of Mike Brown, we rushed up north to help out a bunch of folks in that family. And yeah, we have been developing people in direct action, Black people specifically, ever since. And we've developed like tens and thousands of Black people. So yeah, it's an honor to be a part of them and to share a bit about BlackOUT Collective with you all. Before I really dig into it, I just want to like briefly go over our theory of change. And I also just want to thank y'all for bringing your ancestors into the room and just sharing the stories that are connected to the reasons why you brought them into this space. A lot of our work is grounded in the work of our ancestors at BlackOUT Collective. And so as a national Black direct action hub, we look a lot to like what are circumstances that our ancestors have had to face in the past and how have they used direct action to get through that. And so one example could be the ANC, which is the African National Congress, who literally helped to stop in apartheid in South Africa through a series of so many different direct actions. Or when we think about the Black Panther Party, I think often in time we think about the free breakfast program as this, awesome program that served the needs of the community. But also in BlackOUT Collective, we see that program as a direct action because it was a program that was disrupting a system that was not feeding Black children. And on top of that, they were politicizing families. And so, yeah, So anyway, and then yeah, we also look to folks like SNCC, as I mentioned in my introduction, Colombo, slave rebellions, because this is not the first time that we have been in the conditions that we currently are in in 2025. And so a lot of times if we look back to our ancestors, we can see examples of how they made it through. And so, yeah, again, thanks for bringing all of your ancestors in. And let's like continue to have them inspire us through our time that we have together today, and influence the things that we say. Um, but as an organization, we believe that like when Black people take direct action, it can actually change conditions for everyone. Again, because we've seen this happen with our ancestors. And so the way that BlackOUT Collective exists today, is that we see ourselves as a think and do shop, where like we do a lot of action labs where we work with organizations and different groups, to just dream about the different kind of actions that we can be doing, to put pressure on our targets and change conditions for our folks. We believe in people bringing their whole selves. We very much so invest in Black leadership. We believe that it is very important that Black people confront power, especially for issues that are directly impacting us. And we also believe in healing through action, and that in fact, action should be transformative and healing, each time. And so I'm going to quickly review some of the things that we went through last week. And then today, we're going to get into something that we call the 4 Rs, and also points of intervention if we have time. So last week we did a violence spectrogram, which is an activity that helps you to see the spectrum of um, perspectives that people in your group have around violence, which then can help you to better strategize how you need to execute an action. And that was really fun. We also shared BlackOUT Collective's definition of direct action. Could someone in the IRL room, that's what I'm going to call it, um, read this definition?
All right, we got Sean.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Well, yes. Okay. Direct action is a tactic used to make an immediate intervention that stops business as usual. The purpose is to cause a crisis of conscience for the public and a crisis for the state, the elite, and/or corporations. It is transformational in nature for those using the tactic and aims to transform the practitioner, material conditions, target, and the relationship of the oppressed to power. Direct action is a confrontation with the state.
All right. Thank you so much for reading that. So we're not going to get too much in this today because we got into it a lot last week. But I just wanted us to be grounded, at least in this definition, because the other concepts that we will learn today will be grounded in this. And so some of the things to highlight is that we see direct action just as a tactic. So there might be other things that you maybe thought was a direct action, but didn't include all the things of this definition, and it probably was a tactic, but maybe not direct action. But no, we see it as a tactic. We believe that it's something that has to stop business as usual in some kind of way. It should have a target, and it should be transformational in nature. And so these are all elements to consider when planning a direct action, especially effectively. All right. Cool. And then this was just like a list of some direct actions that we believe kind of fit our definition. And there's so many more. But yeah, some examples are, of course, banner drops, mass call-ins, meeting disruptions, sit-ins, extended occupations. We've seen a few of those, especially last year around the pro-Palestine movement, blockades, noise demonstrations, mass marches and rallies, of course. And we even see things like setting things on fire as also a direct action. It can be very destructive and very targeted. All right. So I'm going to get into what we're going to get into today. We view direct actions in like 4 frames. And it's not anything to really be binded to. It really just reminds us that there is a diversity of different tactics that you can do with under the banner of direct action. And so it just kind of helps us to think about direct action in different kinds of ways and helps us to maybe think more creatively about direct action. And so we call these 4 frames the 4 R's because they all begin with R. What a coincidence. So we're going to go through these and then we're going to play a little game called Photo Roulette where we'll see pictures of actions and we're going to have to guess which of the 4 R's it is. All right. Cute. Can someone read the definition and examples of rapid response from the Zoom room?
I could read it. Rapid response. Actions that immediately respond to an injustice or intervene to stop it. An example would be Philando Castile and Alta Sterling's actions, and see transgender bathroom protests.
All right. Thanks so much, Mark. Yes, so rapid response. Rapid response is a kind of direct action that I think we probably think about a lot when we think about whenever there is unfortunately a killing of a Black person by a police officer. Normally, cities try to respond immediately and do some kind of action that is an immediate response to that particular injustice. A few years ago in North Carolina, there was like some legislation that was being proposed to bans like trans people from bathrooms. And there was just like a series of rapid response direct actions that happened from local groups. And it's actually influenced the policy. And as far as I know, it did not pass. And so rapid response can be very effective. To just, we don't always want to be reactionary, but sometimes we gotta be, sometimes things just happen and we don't always expect it. Great. Thanks so much for reading that. The next one is reform. Can someone in the IRL room read the definition and examples of reform?
Sure, I will. Reform, actions that put pressure on your decision maker to make your demands, usually within a grassroots campaign. Example, Fight for 15 actions, actions with a demand for the mayor.
Thanks so much for reading that. Yeah, reform. Again, this is if you are like a local organizer or a local activist that is involved in an organization that has a campaign going on, you have probably done some reform based kind of direct actions because there's a campaign. And so there's different points of pressure that you have to put on your target. And so, yeah, of course, some examples of this is like the Fight for 15 actions. It was a campaign that was going on for years, but there was a series of actions that had happened over that time that were all direct actions. Or even just local fights that you might have in a city and different direct actions that people do against the mayor or maybe a particular city council member because they need them to vote a particular way to get something passed or on the ballot and so on. So yeah, all right, there's 2 more. Okay, so the third R is rebellion. Can someone online read the definition of rebellion and the examples?
I can read. Rebellion. Actions that question the validity of the system by agitating against it. Example, Black Panther actions, anarchist, slave rebellions, uprisings such as Ferguson and Baltimore.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks so much. I'm like saying for sure like you wrote it. I'm like, I just agree so much. All right, so rebellion is another kind of direct action. Again, this is something that questions the validity of the system by agitating it. So earlier, I think I mentioned like the Black Panther Party free breakfast program. That was a program that existed because there was not breakfast provided for children in public schools at that time. And so they did these actions to agitate the system to actually do that. And so after, this happened and the Black Panthers are criticized so much and blah, 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 the public school system now has free breakfast for children under a certain income, that with families that are under a certain income. And so this is something that happened through direct actions like things that the Black Panthers have done, and so on. And so there's so many different kinds of examples of rebellions. Of course, slave rebellions, questioning the validity of slavery, yeah, and so on. And the last R is resilience-based actions. Can someone in real life read the definition and examples of the resilience-based actions?
All right, we got one. It's oiling up the joints. 1 second.
Woo woo!
Rebellion. Actions that question the last one, sorry. Resilience-based actions. Action that assert your right to something. Example, Columbus in South America, occupations, Africa Town and West Oakland.
Thank you, Yusuf.
Great. Thank you so much. Yeah, resilience-based actions. These are actually one of my favorites. It's really, I kind of see it as like when you take back something that society says that you don't deserve. And I also typically see these kinds of actions as kind of normally kind of happening over a long period of time. And so the Colombos in South Africa, they're a group who created their own society outside of slavery. And it was a place that folks could come to live free with their own folks. And so that in itself is a direct action. Occupations can be a direct action that is resilience-based, and so on. I'm wondering if folks have any questions about these 4 different frames of direct actions,
Yes.
or any other examples you want to share.
I have a question. I'm not fully understanding the difference between rebellion and resilience based. In the sense of, yeah, I'm not, is like rebellion more of disrupting something and resilience based is creating something? I'm not fully understanding, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, so rebellion is kind of like questioning something in the system. So it could be like uh something around one woman's rights. Or yeah, of course, like a slave rebellion or something like that, questioning the validity of slavery. Resilience is pretty much like it's kind of like going a step further. It's like what the system is saying is not valid, and also I'm going to assert my right to that. And so like an example of that could be an occupation, because it could be like a piece of land that the state is saying that you cannot be on, or and so you're like, actually, I'm just going to go there. Or it could be like occupying a house that maybe the state has abandoned and boarded up because like they bought it and they're waiting for like private, people to go and build up on it. But you're like, F that, I'm going to like go in this house and I'm going to live in there. I'm going to set up shop. That could be a resilience-based action, just literally occupying a house. And so it's really, again, like it's kind of going a step further and saying like this is my right and I'm going to do this. Does that make sense?
I'm listening. I'm gonna sit with it. Thank you.
And we'll have some examples too, so maybe they'll help out a little bit. Susan?
So is like the lunchroom lunch counter sit-ins, are those resilience-based? Would you have called them resilience-based actions?
They can be resilience-based actions for sure. Yes, it would definitely qualify under that. It could also be like a reform-based action, and actions can be multiple of these frames. They don't just have to be one. But it also could be reform because they did have a campaign going on at that time. And so the lunch counter sit-ins was like one of many other things that they did, but it was definitely resilience-based. So yes.
In person.
Yeah.
Hey, Epiphany, I'm Siona.
Mm-hmm.
Just maybe wondering, like hunger strikes by an individual. Maybe if you can help me understand where that might fit. And then overall, maybe you're going to go there. How is knowing or identifying each of these frames kind of helping, you know, I don't know, move the needle forward in the action, like gain
Yeah.
some effectiveness?
Yeah. I think so a hunger strike could be like a rebellion. Just questionability of something, and so your action is like this hunger strike. Because it's not exactly asserting a right to a thing. Like you're taking this action to like prove a point, you know? But the point of these is not really to get too stuck on them. It's really just to use it to try to think a little bit more creatively about actions and like the time in which like you're performing the action. And it might influence the setting, how you respond, what your demands are, how many people you're mobilizing, and so on. And so it's kind of just like an identifying key. All right. So, well, we did that, all the questions and things like that. So let's just give it a try. We'll just give it a try, see what happens. All right. So I'm going to post some pictures and then we're all going to just guess what's the frame. And I'm just going to ask, hey, what made you choose that? And so on. And it's going to be great and it's going to be fun. Yay. And I think as you see this too, you'll notice that there's so many different kinds of actions that you will see, which is again like the point of this, to think through different kinds of actions that you can execute for whoever your target is. All right. So our first picture, we have an Instagram post, Moms for Housing. No one should be homeless when homes like this are sitting empty. So we're moving in. Come down to 2928 Magnolia Street and help us decorate. Hashtag Mom's House, hashtag Moms for Housing. So which of the four R's could this be? All right. I see someone in the chat said resilience space. All right. What's y'all's reason for that? Well, one of the three.
I'm happy to jump in. I guess the idea is that you're asserting your right to something, noticing that the empty housing and just moving in is just really like building, just finding your own answer to the problem that is being created.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, that's the right answer. This is definitely a resilience-based action. And for good reason. It's why should moms be homeless? So we going in there and we fixing it up. But this is also a direct action. And so yeah. All right. Next one. Okay. This next one is a picture of abortion clinic escorts. Which of the four R's is this?
Yeah, in person, yeah, did you want to say yours? Somebody mentioned it rapid response. I'm
What made
also,
you say rapid response?
Because I'm sure it was a call to come and be present in the moment. And they probably got training ahead of time, so I'm overthinking it, but to come now because there's, barriers to accessing the clinic.
Mhm.
Can I add on?
I
We have
definitely hear
additional
that.
comments. We
I
got
would
additional comments.
say it's not necessarily rapid response. I think it could be rapid response if it was like maybe a specific person that they had this big call for people to go because something happened to this person and we got to like immediately go and escort them in. But one of the things to remember is like this is a regular thing that happens. Like there's always protesters at these types of clinics, and there's normally always escorts too. And so it's not exactly rapid. Any other guesses?
Yeah, we got one more from Sean.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say resilience-based action because it's asserting people's right to abortion. I also feel like it could be a rapid response because it's well, I forgot, but I'll just say resilience-based action.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
will agree with you. I also think it's a resilience-based action. Yeah, it's asserting your right to an abortion, literally walking you in despite the resistance. I would arguably say that the resistance, though, is more of a rebellion kind of action, like people, just agitating the idea of an abortion clinic existing in the first place. But yeah, the person walking them in is definitely doing a resilience-based action. And again, it could be rapid response, but I don't think that this picture gives us enough context to be able to say that. All right. Love this one. Um, all right. So, we have a picture of the news. Breaking news overnight. Minneapolis police station burned in protests. Um, For some context, this is Minneapolis 2020. So, which of the four R's could this be? Mary said rebellion because why do we have police?
I'd like to say rebellion, action.
Yep. Yeah. I agree. I think that this could be multiple ones, but I think that the most obvious one that it is definitely rebellion. Questioning the validity of police. Like, why do you even exist? You're killing Black men, so on and so forth. This should not exist. So we're just gonna burn your resources. Um, it also could. I see someone said rapid response. It could be rapid response. Depending on the date. This is the city that George Floyd was murdered in. And so this very much so could be a rapid response. The only reason why I wouldn't say yeah for sure is just because we don't know the date of the report. But we do know that this is 2020 Minneapolis, so it's very likely. But does that make sense, y'all? All right, cool. All right, let's do this next one. All right. So this one is a picture of environmental activist Winona LaDuke Center, along with other water protectors, stand in front of the construction site for the Line 3 oil pipeline near Palisade, Minnesota on January 9th, 2021. Which of the four R's could this be? What made you say rapid response? I gotta ask.
We see them literally in front of the construction. I guess I don't know how to call these things that are supposed to create this pipeline. On the construction site. So they're actively trying to stop something happening. It's a reaction.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is definitely a rapid response. Are there any other of the 4 R's y'all see in this?
We got something in person.
Sean again. I feel like it's also an act, like a resilience-based action, asserting rights to clean water and land, and rebellion as well.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. This is also something that was happening over a long period of time. And I would arguably say it's reform too. So I really kind of think it's all of them. Which is fine. It can be all of that. But yeah, I mean, the fact that they're literally doing a blockade in front of the construction materials, yeah, I think definitely signifies like rapid response. I think also just agitating agitating the idea that these trucks should be building anything in this area where that gives people water. And yeah, so I think a lot of these R's can be applied in this one. Okay, this one, I think y'all are gonna get this one. Yeah. All right. So the little caption is protesters march on Hiawatha Avenue. Sorry if I said that wrong. Avenue while decrying the killing of George Floyd on May 26th in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Yes, Susan, you're
Someone
on
in
a roll.
person.
Yep.
Oh, what'd you say?
Oh, I said rebellion and rapid response.
We got rapid response over here.
And
Yep,
rebellion.
definitely rapid response. This is like, I want to say was the day after George Floyd was murdered. So yeah, just definitely like a response to that, directly within the city where he was murdered. So yes, this is definitely rapid response. It could also be rebellion too. All right, I think this might be my last one. All right, Argentina demonstration on Women's Day for legal abortion and against violence against women. Which of the 4 R's could this be?
Reform-based? They're asserting their rights.
Who said that? Reform-based because they're asserting their right?
Yeah.
Are you thinking about rebellion? I mean resilience base?
Oh, yes. Yes, I
Reform-based?
am. I got this two flipped. Yeah.
What made you say reform-based, Susan?
I'm not sure because I was a little confused about what reform-based is, but it seems like they're agitating. They're are they blockading? They're demonstrating, I guess. So
Yeah.
okay. What was
I think
remind me of the definition of reform-based?
reform
They're
is
looking for a reform.
yeah, you're looking for a reform, so you have like a target, you're asking for something, and also it's normally within a campaign. And so this could be reform based. It does look pretty well coordinated. Like it's looking like they're a part of a campaign. They all got matching shirts and stuff like this. So it's hard to believe that this is their first time. So I do think it could be reform. I also think it could be rebellion. Because they're having this action specifically on Women's Day. And so I think part of the messaging is like, well, if we believe in women's rights, we should also believe in like legal abortion and protecting women against violence. And so just I think questioning the validity, just questioning how like where they're at like celebrates that particular day. So yeah, but all right, y'all. Thanks. Did that help to make it a little bit more clear, just like the different kinds of actions and how it could be like a little helpful and just thinking through different kind of actions to do?
Yeah.
I know we did.
All right, bet. So there's one more concept that I'd like to show y'all, which is the points of intervention. Has anyone ever heard of this before? All right, great. We're all going to learn together. I mean, obviously I'm familiar with it, but great. I just love like a collective learning session. So the points of intervention is a way to think about specific places where a targeted action can interrupt a system and make change possible. And so this is something that makes you think about like the locations where you would have your actions. I think a lot of times we think about like, oh, let's do a protest. We're going to do it in front of City Hall, or we're going to do it on this busy street. And that's cool. But there's so many other places that we can choose to really agitate our targets, and like kind of hit them at their pockets too. And so there's a bunch of different examples. So we'll kind of go through these definitions. We'll think through some examples together, and then there'll be some examples, and we'll guess which of the points of intervention it's going to be. All right. So the first point of intervention is the point of production. And so this is when harmful items are created. An example of that could be a factory, where items that are harmful to the environment are created. Any other examples y'all can think about in terms of like where are harmful things created?
What
we
about
got.
oh, sorry.
Please go.
No, please go and we'll go after.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm thinking like Amazon warehouse, like where it's not production necessarily, but the employees are kind of in that position where they are, being treated terribly. They have terrible living, working conditions, and it's kind of along the production line.
Yeah. I think we can include that in there. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like thank y'all so much just for thinking through it. It's not something that we think about all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, where is this? Like I'm drinking kombucha right now. I'm like, oh, where was this created? But I know there's a brewery somewhere in St. Petersburg, Florida, where this is created. But yeah, or so yeah, any other examples that folks have? Let me look at the chat.
Yeah, we got something here from Sean. Go for it.
I guess this is also in the form of a question, but are
Mhm.
items limited to like material, like
No,
objects? Okay. So I
nope, it
guess I'm
doesn't
thinking,
have to be.
okay. I'm thinking more like immaterial, like ideas, but I don't know if it would be like think tanks or like possibly like dangerous classes or like places where dangerous rhetoric are sort of like,
Mm,
like inflamed and like spewed. I'm not sure, but I
sort
can't think
of.
of any specific places.
That is definitely a point of intervention, but it's not necessarily the point of production. But there will be a place where that will make sense when we go through that one.
Thank you.
I think someone in the chat said data centers. I think data centers could definitely be one too. Yeah. All right, we have someone else in person.
Oh, that might have just been my tail end comment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyone else in
Oh,
person?
how about like I've heard of like mass-produced animal, warehouses
Yeah.
like cattle ranches or chicken farms where, there's just inhumane or, yeah. So
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely, for sure. All right. Well, thank y'all so much for thinking through those examples. So the next one we could think about is the point of destruction. So this is where resources are extracted or destroyed. Um, One thing that I think about is like the ocean. There's a lot of corporations that like drill into the ocean to get certain materials, to create their products. Um, I've seen like some really interesting actions happen in boats on waters to kind of disrupt that. But yeah, that's one thing that I think about. Where are some other places where like resources are extracted or destroyed?
Well, it
Yeah,
could be maybe places where industries are dumping junk
Yeah.
into like rivers or streams, or it could be the ocean too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's super real. Yeah, thanks for
Right.
saying mentioning that, Susan. Um, I see in the chat we have Amazon forest, definitely. Cobalt mining, definitely. Okay, great. All right. Yeah, we know this one.
Mhm.
We're more familiar with this one. I feel y'all, me too. All right. The next one is point of consumption. So this is where products reach the consumer. So what are some locations for that? Um, I guess one thing I think about is like the Apple store. Like that's where we go to buy these iPhones that are like terrible for the environment and are there's resources extracted in different parts of the world that are very harmful to the people extracting them. What else? Oh, Starbucks. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I read so many things in college about where they get their coffee from and buddy. Oh, Mary,
I
when you
wanted to
said
connect the.
what you say?
Oh, I was gonna say McDonald's on the note that Siona made earlier, like those that destructive production process, of the like beef farms, which are contributing to desertification and labor violations all around. It's the consumption as well. McDonald's, a place where they don't pay people, the majority of their workers a living wage. So
Yeah,
it's like the model itself is also consuming the workers too, and not just the
yeah,
products that are destroying our bodies.
yeah, for sure. Definitely. All right. I think we're good on that one. Okay. So the next one, which also goes back to that comment, is the point of decision. So this is where plans for the future are determined. So I think some folks had mentioned like think tanks, or different groups who are like planning different things out that impact the large group of folks. This could go in there. The Supreme Court, the Capitol, yeah. Any other places y'all could think about where decisions are made?
Legislation.
Yeah. Right. So you might go to the Capitol building, you might go to the City Hall, but you want to go to the place where they make their decisions, where they're making their plans. It might be like your city council meeting. So yeah.
What about like a Facebook or social media platform? Bringing those down? No, that's not exactly a decision.
Not exactly decision, but it actually could be this next one, which is the point of assumption, and that is the point where social norms are developed and upheld. And so I think we could include social media in that because yeah, I mean, I think social media at this point is definitely a part of our social norms, how people learn things, what people pay attention to. And so disrupting that in some kind of way, can certainly be an action and something to consider. Any other ideas for like points of assumption, like this point where social norms are developed or upheld? Church, yep. Yeah. Like you gotta go to church, I mean, depending on what, kind of um religious institute you go to, you might have to get dressed, you might have to withhold certain things, certain kinds of information. And so the idea of going in there and disrupting the culture, in that is itself a direct action. School, yep, for sure. Any other ideas for points of assumption? But I think y'all have the point. All right. So last two. Next one is the point of potential, when cultural or historic moments become action opportunities. So what are some examples of that? I think just thinking about what's coming up, we have Black Friday is coming up. It's this thing, it's like this American thing. You go shopping, you get all these discounts, you engage in capitalism to the fullest. And so what would it look like to create some kind of action that opposes those kinds of cultural norms that like that day holds? So yeah, what are some other ideas y'all might have around points of potential?
Thanksgiving is another one.
Thanksgiving, yep, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think another thing that I think about in terms of a historical moment, I always forget the exact number, but I think that it is the 200th anniversary of the United States that's coming up.
250.
250. Thank you, Susan.
I only
You're
know that
great.
because I
I
live
love
near
Susan.
Concord.
Thank you. I was like, I know someone's gonna help me. Yeah, so in a few years, it's gonna be like the 250th anniversary of the United States. That is a historic moment that we already know is coming. And so we could also be thinking about like, what are the things that we know our government probably would plan on doing that day? And what are things that we can do to oppose that and like demand a thing? But that could be an opportunity to take advantage of doing direct action, just saying. But also just wanted to give another example of like, it doesn't just have to be a historic moment of the past. It could also be something that you're anticipating for the future too. Yes, definitely the World Cup, that's coming up. The Super Bowl, yes. I feel like the fact that Bad Bunny is even performing is a direct action in itself, but but yeah. All right, and so the last one, which I'm pretty sure y'all will also get, is the point of transport. So that one is to disrupt and draw attention to the movement of key materials. So some of that could be like, if we're thinking about Amazon, like the Amazon trucks and like the deliveries that they make to their different locations. Can y'all think of anything else in the point of transport?
Would blockades fall in that? Like blocking entrances to, it's not transporting the thing, but it's blocking normal transport. Maybe.
Yes. Yes, it could be. Yeah, like blocking like just traffic in general.
I think that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, I think as long as there's a goal, right? Like if there's like a key place that people are getting and you're like, "Oh no, they just cannot get there." You know what I mean? Because they're the people going to the thing. But I think like as long as there's a goal, it can count. Um,
There's
yeah.
also the blocking of by dock workers of weapons going to Israel that happened in a few places, and but just in general, just like blocking workers blocking docks for any kind of materials that's being transported.
Yeah,
Is interesting.
absolutely. Yeah, that could definitely be one. All right. Well, let's go through a couple of examples and then I'll get y'all out of here because I think y'all are doing breakout soon. But I always like to, make sure folks understand the different concepts and then let's try it out together. So first example is work slowdowns at a factory. Which point of intervention would that be?
Action.
What'd you
Somebody
say?
here said production.
Yep, production for sure. All right. National Days of Action on holidays. Which one would that be?
Potential.
Yep. Yep, that can definitely be potential. It could also be a point of assumption too. Actions on the steps of the Supreme Court building. What about that one?
Decision.
Decision. Faux show. Absolutely. Rallies at the local incinerator. So an incinerator is where things are like destroyed. To make a long story short.
Destruction.
Destruction for sure. All right, next one is blockades on logging roads. Yep,
Transport.
transport. Absolutely. And that's like another example of transport too. I know we were like trying to think of a few more. Banner drops at sports stadiums during games.
Potential.
And yep. I mean, it can definitely be potential. Um, I lean to, yeah, I think it could be potential or assumption. I think those two are just like so close in how they're defined. But yeah, for sure. All right. I think I got city council meeting takeover. Y'all got this.
We say
Decision.
decision.
Yeah, of course. Of course it's decision. All right, y'all. Well, thanks so much. Thanks so much just for rocking with me and just practicing some of these newer concepts. Again, they're not concepts for y'all to be binded to and to be planning your actions in a box. It's really just some concepts to help you think a little bit more creatively about different locations for you to have your actions, different ways to target your target, and think through the kinds of actions that you're executing. And so I hope that was a little bit helpful. I hope y'all do some powerful direct actions in the near future. But if you ever need any support from BlackOUT Collective, feel free to reach out to me at Epiphany at blackoutcollective.org. You can also go to our website, of course, at blackoutcollective.org. And yeah, we got Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. I would definitely say our Instagram is the most poppin'. So I would encourage you to follow us there at Black Direct Action. And if you have any feedback about today, good or not so great, we always want to sharpen up what we do. So please do go to bit.ly/2025 blackout feedback, all lowercase. If you got some feedback for today. But thanks so much. And I am out.